Welcome to Talk Cosmos, the show where Sue Rose Minahan and her guests bring you insightful conversations to awaken heart and soul consciousness. Come journey with us exploring the meaningfulness of astrology's energetic cycles and get ready to understand your path in the cosmic roots of the stars.
Hello, I'm Sue Minahan. This is Talk Cosmos, and we're introducing the Aquarius Leo Nodal shift. We're at the start of it today, 18 months. Time frames are difficult to really try to get a handle on, but you just have to ride the tide and move. And that's what I'm going to do with a great guest today. So with no more to say, we'll just get started. Thanks.
Talk Cosmos engages unique events during the 3rd and 4th weeks of the month, featuring a myriad of new and returning guests. Joining host and founder Sue Rose Minahan, they co-create to explore and contemplate a wide spectrum of potent subjects. Embark on today's topic within our panorama of guests and insights as we welcome the astrologers for this conversation.
Well, hi, Marie.
Hello, Sue. How are you?
I'm doing fine. It's just great to connect on this terms with you. Yes, indeed. Marie O'Neill is my guest today from Santa Rosa, and she's the founder of Padma Life Coach and her YouTube, which is Padma Life Coaching, youtube.com. She's a life coach, astrologer, speaker, past life regression facilitator, and a lecturer. She's also the author of a best-selling book and The Lotus Open. It's very memorable, a good read. And more than that, Marie is just packed with her itinerary. She co-hosts the Kepler College YouTube series, Let's Talk Astrology Business. And now this year, or sometime in the past year, the Vice President of Strategic Initiatives at Kepler College, besides being a core instructor for a master class on astrological storytelling, which was just finished. However, I noticed online that you have another one coming up August 1st. And I did include it. We're going to talk about it. I like to research and make sure I cover everything.
Yes.
And besides that, Marie does produce 2 retreats. They've been virtual, but I think there's talk about one coming up that's going to be in person. That'll be most exciting. Well, this lunar access, 18 months. How amazing that you and I get to share it.
I know. That's good.
It is. It's always, they say the energies, you feel them. But it does seem to just, well, I guess it's like a cake. When it finally rises, it's ready, right? Yeah. So it begins today, and the nodes go backwards. So it's at 29 degrees, 59 minutes of Leo for the South Node and Aquarius for the North Node, for 18 months, until the 26th of March in 2028, where it'll be exactly at 0 degrees.
Yeah, there's one thing that we do need to mention to the viewers, and it moved into Leo and Aquarius today by true node. By mean node, it is still in Pisces, Virgo. And so depending on what you use, whether it's true or mean, is going, you have to look at that. And the mean node occurs because they're not planets, they're points. And so we're looking at speeds and declination. We're looking at all of this when we're looking at the nodes, because we're looking at the elliptic, the ecliptic. Anyway, that's a whole subject.
Yes, the 2 paths right there. Yes,
paths,
indeed.
Exactly. Yes. And so because the moon slows down and picks up, that means that the nodes also, the points slow down and pick up. So we, when you're looking at the mean, you're taking an average over, all the entire movement versus the true, which is where it is at the moment. Because, the nodes move backwards and then sometimes and then sometimes they move forward. So in my work, the way I was taught and what I still use are the mean nodes. That doesn't mean that the true node isn't accurate. It's just your preference.
Good point, Marie. I'm so glad. And I even like better this little picture I have of the 29 and the 0 degrees, because if it hasn't yet reached the 29 degree of Leo and Aquarius, we're still at the earlier one, Virgo and Pisces. And truly speaking, and besides that, as we'll see, the eclipses, this one coming up is in Leo, but then the next one, the lunar, is in Pisces. So we truly are navigating this, the shores of,
right.
It's the moon, like the tide.
Right. We're really dealing with both at this moment.
Good point.
We're still dealing with that. Yeah,
I will be. So we'll honor both. It's like, yippee, we get 2 birthdays here.
Well, we are Gemini,
Yeah, that's right. We are. Marie and I, we love it. That's it. This does show exactly what Marie was speaking of. They are points, and it's the path between the moon's path and the sun's elliptic path that is where all the planets, ecliptic rather, where all the planets go around. So, and this is just for those people that are wondering about it in the future, because our conversation is really going to delve into a lot of other factors with Marie. But it's every 18 years plus, roughly 18, 6 months. Yeah. So the last one was 2007 to 2009. And then previous to that, it was 89 to 90 and 70 to 72. And you can see the exact months here. So I apologize to the podcast people that I'm not reading them all off, but that might anchor a few memories for a person if you're thinking in the past. Here we are, essentially, as we're approaching them or in them, these nodes, the lion is the Leo, and the water bearer represents Aquarius for us. But more than that, it's really that manifested identity or personage, right? With Leo and
it's the patron saint of Aquarius. I mean, patron saint of astrology, the Aquarius. And that water bearer, it has in some of the cards in the tarot deck, one of the tarot decks that I use, the water bearer has 1 foot in the water and 1 foot on land. And she's pouring water in the water and also on the land. And so she is, that's of course the star card. And she's nourishing humanity, and it's about humanity. And that Leo, I love Leo. And with Leo being a ruler of the sun, we know that Leo there's 2 aspects there in esoteric philosophy with Leo, because we say Leo likes to be seen, it likes to be on stage, it likes, adulation and all that, but that's on the personality level. On the soul level, it shines its light just because it is the sun, rather than the personality. So it's a little bit different.
And that's all. I like the differentiation there, because I've always understood that. It's why Leo is perhaps organizing, being sort of directing the stage or the roles of the people, but it is because of this light factor. I love seeing astrology and views of light,
hmm
and
It's
that's
all
really
about light and
Mhm.
how everything is light, as we
It
know.
is
And
vibration.
and it's just radiating at a different rate and a different frequency. And that's why we get Leo manifesting the way it does, and Aquarius manifesting the way that, and all of the signs for that matter.
Yeah, and these two work beautifully together when uh, Leo is able to work in a community and find a new role to show their ability and their leadership, because Leo is such a leader. And Aquarius, because we can all fit into the puzzle, if by sharing what we have and by participating in a group, you discover new directions that you need to apply or discover or to become. So it becomes, and the other thought is that for the Aquarian people, it can be some give and take, realizing that this new leadership, this person that's fitting in, has a different perspective.
hmm Absolutely. And, we're looking at, because we're looking at Leo as the southern node and Aquarius as the northern node, that takes on um, a different meaning than if it was flipped.
Yes, the perspective.
And the perspective is a little different. Same energy, but just different perspective. So when you're looking at it at Leo from the southern node, we're looking at the gifts of Leo, and we're also looking at the shadow.
Indeed. Yes.
And so, what does Leo need to do to shine its light without the ego, or allowing the soul with, the heart to come through versus just the ego? What does it need to do? And it's got to look to the Aquarius, because Aquarius as the north node is where, we're going. And so how does Leo then use its gifts to aid Aquarius, that Aquarius energy, and vice versa? And of course, with Aquarius, we're looking at the collective and the groups and helping, but the quality of how we help is determined by how well we have individuated.
Indeed. It is our voice that matters, which the Leo loves, but having that humility. And more than this, it is a sense of where one isn't always asking for confirmation, that individuality is strong enough that you can deliver on your own merit. Because if one needs approval, there's a difference with just making sure that you're on the right track, perhaps, as you're learning. But the idea is that you are able to share from your viewpoint, so there's an honest sharing, because that polarity helps to temper the weaknesses and the strengths.
Yeah. It really does. And with Aquarius and Leo, because they're two sides of the same coin. When we're looking at astrology, one sign becomes the antidote for the other, and they work well together when you think about them holistically. And so with Aquarius and Leo, if you go into a room full of people and you have individuated, you know who you are, you're able to stand in your truth, you're able to stand in who you are without fear, then you can be a part of the group and help the group to evolve, because you are unique. You are a unique point inside the entire group.
That's good. Yes. Yeah. It's like this teeter-totter, really.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
I love
Yep.
this
I,
teeter totter.
I do too. Life really seems like it. I have a memory from childhood, my losing my teeter-totter friend. That was a sad thing. She went to school. I was too little. Yeah. So I do want to mention, I debated when to bring this up, but with the slides, that because Leo and the sun's in Leo, the nodes in the sun, when they're within 12 degrees, the solar eclipse, well, the new moon becomes eclipsed. So we're having a new eclipse. And when we have an eclipse, the nodes stay at that degree for a couple of months. In this case, it's going to be over 2 months. Starting today on the 26th, it's going to be at 29 degrees and the minutes change, but so excruciatingly slow, which is a good drill. It's going to connect with all the other parts of a chart. And it's also why I suppose it'll be interesting to see when the mean node does come up. But for the true node, it starts today and it goes right through both eclipses, the equinox, until the 9th of October.
That means it's going to be loud.
Yes.
Yes. Because whenever something is stopped like that, it is loud, and it's giving you your marching orders. It's giving all of us our marching orders.
Boy, is it? Yes. Right. It must be a little bit ride the tide between the two, because it's right on that cusp.
Yeah.
It's ready to be the individuation, but it must be reminding us, where was the womb? What was the wholeness that we came from, that we were wanting to reach from,
Absolutely.
to share?
And that's why it's good. I'm glad that you put the dates up there for the previous cycles, because everything evolves in a spiral. So looking back over however long you are, but looking back whatever your age is, if you can look back to the previous cycle and the one before that and contemplate what you were dealing with, what you were going through, what were your gifts, what were you being asked to shed or bring through. You've had 18 years to work on it.
Isn't that, and it is an amazing chapter, because these dates are very instrumental. 2007.
Well, that was just before the crash.
It was, and I remember I was caregiving with my dad. He just died, and I ended up eventually retiring from the airline business and getting back involved with astrology and going to Seattle. And the time before I went back to school, it goes on and on. It's like pivotal. Must be for you too. Yeah,
it really is. And so none of us are able to take these nodes in isolation. You have to look at what was going on with your transits and your progressions also, and what houses these nodes showed up for you, because that also helped to determine what you were going to actually experience. But it's all, when I think about the entire chart as a whole, it's really all about us finding out who we are and living from our authentic self. That's the whole purpose anyway. And so we work with different aspects of ourselves, and the nodes are helping us to do that. It's kind of, I look at this as, if you're having a nodal return during this period of time, it's a report card grade. You're getting a grade, and you're getting your marching orders for the next 18 years. If it's the half, then it's kind of a midterm. What have you done in nine years? Yeah. And so it's like, okay, what do you need to correct? What do you need to keep going? What do you need to do so that you can ace it? Can you tell them? And then if not, if you don't have these nodes in your makeup, then you're still, you have to look at your natal position of your south node and your north node and ask how they're evolving, because they're still true to the what you are working on, but those nodes are still evolving. So if you have, say, a Gemini south node, that you're coming up to your nodal return, but what is that Gemini south node being asked to learn or to integrate with the south node being in Leo?
Yeah, that's a good point. I've often thought when they're square each other, that's a very dynamic time.
Mm-hmm.
So, if a person has them that would be in either direction, as you're mentioning. So it would be the other fixed signs of Scorpio and Taurus. But all of them, it's phasal. It's a phase.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, and how to good perspective that way. Or planets. If you have a planet going through, which later, they'll be conjuncting.
Jupiter. It'll be a while. So is this the Ingress chart, Sue?
This is for today, if we were the true part. And there's several charts I have, and we don't have to go through all of them. But because I was trying, in doing a chart, it's like, well, what is it all about? This one here was the nodes itself, somewhat showing that accentuation, because Uranus, is really squaring them. It's at, besides being connected with Uranus with that mini grand trine and etc. But that's significant. It's saying what's happening immediately at any time is relevant. That needs to be addressed and is bringing you back somehow, like a little, one of those little tops of water.
Well, yeah, and so I look at Uranus and also Saturn as the ruler of that south node. So what's the relationship between Saturn and Uranus? And how does the sun come into this? What's the relationship between the sun and Uranus? It's a sextile there, which is good.
Going back to Saturn, because I think the next ones will show about the sun. This slide doesn't, but it's square Saturn, Mercury. And so therefore, I think we're really, a lot of this is about strategy, because looking at that with, there's also Chiron involved that's undergoing such a healing process, and also in a whole new cycle of 8 years. And we're strategizing what's fundamental, what actions with a square and Saturn in Aries. And of course, that's action there too. But for Mercury in Cancer, but what's fundamental to my roots, to what I'm
and
my story.
And where are you an authority in your life? What are you saying? Well, how are you communicating with authority? In our society, regardless of what country you're in, there can certainly be a fear of speaking your mind or speaking your truth or being your authority.
Yeah. Pause. Pausing on that one. Pause. We do have something to say. No, go ahead.
Well, Saturn's in Aries, and that takes a lot of courage.
Yeah. That is a good point. I was just listening. Who was I listening to? Oh, Ann Ortley at Kepler. She was.
I love Ann.
Oh, I do too. Truly, I do. And she brought up the fact that Saturn, as a co-ruler, she does go along with Uranus, but Saturn too, which I do, is It's, 2.5 years in a sign. So right now, because we're thinking of Aquarius in, I'm thinking of Pluto in Aquarius. And so the fact is that Saturn in Aries is really a dominant force now for these 2.5 years, besides all the rest.
No, it really is.
It's inventing. I have a little cartoon where there's a little island and these two little creatures are coming up. One's in the water and one's going on the shore, and it's turning its back to the other, and it says, has nothing to do with evolution. I'm reinventing myself. I think
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. Well, and the other thing that we have to remember with these nodes is because they've changed into Aquarius and Leo, we have begun the run up of that North Node meeting up with Pluto. It's going to be a while, but we've started it. So what is Pluto asking of the collective and also of the individual? So now, whenever a planet or asteroid or node enters the sign of another planet, then you start to feel the energy of that other planet, and it's asking the new planet or new node, okay, what are your marching orders here? What is it you are needing to change within yourself?
I think clearly for myself, again and again, I see the overtures or the reminders that it is our contracts. Juno's right there with Pluto, but our relationships, and it's really, how are we meeting? Who are we exchanging with? Who are we? What resources? What can we provide? And how can we join forces to contribute to?
What's the purpose of it?
Yes.
What's the purpose of it for the individual, and what's the purpose of it for the collective?
Yeah, because we have this whole tree of such a collection of planets. Up here on the one side, I was trying to show this mini grand trine. I finally got AI to cooperate with three.
At least they spelled the planets right.
Yeah. And so, there's, because we still have this Barbeau basket, whether he named it or not. Rick was on last week and said, no, Barbeau didn't name it, but that's fine. It's just still, and it's not one day, it's this whole event happening. But what's making a difference is Jupiter. So Jupiter makes everything big, and it's part of this nodal experience we're having too right now. And as it's
it is true. And with Jupiter, I know that we all say Jupiter is the benefic. However,
excess city, hello. Yes, ma'am. Now I don't know whether we need to take a little break. I'll see what
I'm good for that.
Okay, well, we have time for a chat. Well, my wonderful soundboard person that you also share, I know, is telling us we have time for it. Let's see. If we do look at this briefly, I think it does accentuate what we've been talking about, though. Because there's this, what they call Thor's hammer, and it is where Pluto, just as we were talking about with, what is it asking us? It is not just asking, it's pounding. It's saying exactly what you're saying. And it is about, with Mars that wants to be open and free and just collect and work with what you've got. And then Venus that is more meticulous is saying, well, let's kind of discern all those things that you're gathering and work something out that has value to both of us, and make something beautiful between us. But Pluto's going, you know what, you guys, for what purpose? Exactly what you were saying. Why?
Yeah. What's the purpose in that? Yeah. And that square between Venus and Mars, I actually see that as a positive. I know that a lot of people think, oh God, it's a square, but it means we have to actually do the work.
Yes, exactly. I love it. Well, thank you, Marie O'Neill. Stay tuned, folks, because she's coming right back with me, and we'll just finish up with a lot more. All right, thanks. While we take a break from this week's edition of Talk Cosmos, let's take a look at this cycle's archetype. We are currently in the Yang period of Leo, ruled by the solar sun. Having departed from a cycle based on the internal process of emotional attachments requiring security and safety, the energy of Leo externally manifests our legacy through children and artistic creations. As a fixed Yang fire sign that desires to ignite actualization, Leo the lion takes the risk to generously exhibit love and welcome all to share their stage with joyous pleasure for living life.
Talk Cosmos ignites insightful conversations to awaken heart and soul consciousness with hour-long programs every Sunday at 1 p.m. Pacific on KKNW. Also available to watch live on the Talk Cosmos YouTube channel and Facebook page. While you're there, make sure you click their like and subscribe buttons so you get the full Talk Cosmos experience. You can listen to earlier podcasts since 2018, either on most podcast carriers or under the video tab on Talk Cosmos YouTube. To join our expedition and find out about upcoming programs, sign up for the newsletter at talkcosmos.com and launch your week into the cosmic wonder.
This is Martha Norwalk. Every Sunday morning, beginning at 9 a.m., thanks in part to NewProSupplements.com, we cover the world of animals. This week, August 2nd, it's Shelter Rescue Sanctuary and anything that helps our animal friends Sunday. We'll check in with Meow Cat Rescue, Help Animals India, Beth and Merritt Clifton from Animals24-7.org, plus we'll find out about all the great classes and events coming up at the Ananda Institute of Living Yoga. Martha Norwalk's Animal World, Sunday morning, 9 a.m. to noon, right here on Alternative Talk, AM 1150.
Talk radio with a purpose. Alternative Talk 1150.
Purpose. Yes, indeed. Big patterns that are definitely happening. And the last, and then I'll move on here to something else, is that moon. You talked about the benefic. Too much is a good thing. There you go. Look at that. A grand trine with the moon in Capricorn, though. It is still looking for what's essential. It wants to be more sober, wants to be more mature, you could say, about things. And it's healing, but it is with Jupiter. So I suppose, though, how strong is it as far as an igniting point? That's what we're looking at, folks. This isn't going to be the whole nodal time. It's just a seed. But it also has a yod, meaning those emotions are going to take time to coordinate. How do you really feel about? And what's the story? That's what we're going to talk about more ahead of this, is the story. Did I lose you? I can't hear you.
I'm okay.
Oh, there you go. Good.
There we go.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you. So what Jupiter does is it magnifies whatever is in front of it. It makes it bigger. So if it's a positive, then it magnifies it. If it's a negative, it magnifies it. It has no preference.
No, it says, you like that? Let's have more of it.
Let's have more of it. Exactly.
You want more? Here, have some.
Exactly.
I guess that's
Yeah. Yeah. And I
that's
did check to see when the mean nodes
good.
change.
Yes.
And that's August 19th.
Oh my gosh, it's going to be between the eclipses, which I suppose it would be because the next eclipse is on the 28th. The first one's on the 12th and the 28th.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it'll be August 19th. And that's, it's so funny because when people started saying, oh, the node shifted today, I'm like, huh? What?
Well, maybe it's at the bottom part of the window. It's sort of like seeing the light in the morning where
I
you know
know.
it's coming up, but you haven't. We feel it. Well, I always review a little bit about the person I'm with at the half hour. Marie O'Neill, Padma Life Coach.
Coaching.
And coaching, Padma Life Coaching, right there. This is her new website. It's really magnificent. And Marie has her book, Lotus and the Lotus Opened, and her YouTube. And the two programs, you are starting a new program August 1st, the Sustainable Astrologer.
Yeah. That one is about, it's really the business aspect for astrologers. How do you build a sustainable practice? How do you not just market, but how do you hold on to your energy while you're working? How do you, how do you price your services? And this used to be a part 2 to the fundamentals of life coaching for astrologers that I teach in the spring. And it's so pivotal. It's such an important topic that it has been set up as being a single course on its own. You don't have to know about life coaching. So I do. I love this class because we can start a business, but we need to know how to sustain it. Over the long haul.
Reminds me that most businesses go belly up because of accounting. You don't have the basic accounting, but this is not that, but it's still the business aspect of it. In fact, musicians often, I was with music for a long time, and he always told me that those successful ones, even Mick Jagger knows business. Or Kenny G, he happened to know, he's a Seattleite, was a Seattleite, and he too knew business. In fact, he was a business, in college, he went to business. So yeah, it's very valuable. Well, good. I wish you, if I was not busy, I would join.
And then there's UWAC too, which is coming up.
Yes, we didn't put that in.
That's okay. That's all right. So yeah, we're, UWAC, the United Astrological Conference, is happening in Chicago this year from September 3rd through 9th. And I'm on a panel discussion with Opa talking about business and how we can business and AI. And I also have another presentation that I'm giving on the Saturday on business and helping, how do you help your client?
Beautiful.
So yeah,
it's gonna
check
be
that out. Go to the website.
And if a person, if you can't attend, they I believe they're still selling the hybrid.
Well, yeah, it's going to be hybrid. You can attend because you're right, not everybody can attend live. And you can watch, I know that UWAC in the past, they have allowed access to the videos for
an extended period of time. Laura Nalbandian's very good at that. That's right. It was 8 years ago, the last one. It was a long time. Well, Talk Cosmos has weekly events. And here's a potpourri, you could say, some of the summer solstice and Astro Jam, which we will have in 2 weeks. Marie is part of that wonderfully. It's on the 16th coming up. And last week was the Barbeau Basket with Rick Levine. And next week will be the solar eclipse. Well, looking at this, the last chart I have is that on November 11th, Jupiter, no, is that right? Yes, I didn't circle it. They'll be at 25 degrees and 32 minutes, the south node and Jupiter, which will
Mm.
be, and look at that, we have two yods. Yods
Wow.
are, folks, when you have an apex and there is that sextile between at the base. So
Mhm.
they're connecting, getting along, sharing information, building things as they connect, but they're both at a quincunx where they just have to toggle or juggle. It's a adjustment, constant
Mhm.
adjustment, especially with a transition where it doesn't always fit. And we can say that by element, by mode, all of those things. But the fact is, it's a learning process. So we're having Mercury and, our thinking process, which will also be, goodness knows, in its, well, it's a good time to have, boy, is that going to be intense. Mercury in Scorpio retrograde. We're going to be evaluating.
Well, yeah, and it will have just gone over that 4 degrees, which is the pivotal. That's a pivotal. Yeah, it's a hot point. And Venus will just have come out of no. Venus is still in retrograde.
Yeah, we have both of them retrograde that time.
Mhm.
So, folks, the point being, we can't, here it is if you want to look later, but it'll be, we have Chiron in
Taurus.
Taurus, yes. And Ceres here is always Ceres is actually a dwarf planet from my studies.
Mm.
It's and just like she walked Earth hiding herself, people think she's an asteroid because she is in the inner belt, not on the outer belts, but she is a dwarf. And that's like you were bringing up the idea of nurturing ourselves, feeding leaving grief to sustaining our grief, and learning how to nourish.
Oh my goodness, yeah. And then, well, oh my goodness. So Juno is conjunct Pluto.
Still, isn't that their head? They're definitely contributing because we have that mini grand trine until 2029, I think. It's going to be 5 years from last year till, it's a long time. So we're changing the collective in so many ways. So we can get ready, we can get excited, and
are we in the we are in the car, our seatbelts are buckled.
Yeah. It has a mystic rectangle and two kites. It's like, holy mackerel. Okay.
So explain, would you mind explaining a mystic rectangle to
a mystic
the audience?
Rectangle is a wonderful phrase because it has trines, is composed of trines and sextiles. So you have a flow and a connection. And besides that, there's oppositions, which make for this other thing called a point of Thales, where you have a planet that's trine and sextile in opposition. So it's like a mitigator. So all 4 points are like really working as a foursome towards some collective, let's work it out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And one of the things that I learned from experience with these aspects is you only need to work one aspect, because that one aspect highlights and works all the others.
Oh, good. Yes. Excellent.
So you can pick just one point and work it. Do whatever you need to do to transform it. It's going to transform the others too. It highlights it, especially with the mystic rectangle, or with a trine or grand trine, or any of them.
Yeah. And besides that, as much as we multitask, sometimes something else gives a little information, but to really understand and master it, it's like going back to it. Well, I have, we had talked about stories
Ah,
since you had just
yes.
finished your class. And interestingly, this Leo, the sun, which is ruled by the sun, in primordial times, before as far as Western mythology goes, before the Greek and Romans took things over, this is, a couple thousand years ago, Helios was the Titan, god, but it was the sun itself. It's so interesting to realize the consciousness that has been, because we are in Aquarius, I think, with collective consciousness. It's not just the whole of Pisces, which we're still in. Maybe both ways, we're looking at it, looking at what is a collective consciousness. And so it changed from having the sun itself and the guardian of oaths and god of sight, and that's to Apollo, that became more not the god itself, but the warmth of light is what it was.
Absolutely, because remember Helios, the story went that during the day Helio would be in his chariot going across the sky, and at night he would go back home to his castle, but then only to rise again. And Helios, I forgot who Helios was married to, but he had many children.
He did.
And anyway, I love the myth.
No, and that is true, because right here is one of his children, Pathon.
Yes.
Yes. And I remember reading this as a child, and it was, it's hard. You read these as a melodrama when you're a little kid, like 8, 9 years old. My grandmother gave me these great books. But he was a child, but wanted to prove that he was the sun's child, and went to his castle. So it must have been at night. They didn't say that. And the father was really thrilled, and so thrilled. But this is the point. This is where Leo, you want to prove your lineage. You want to, somewhat patriarchal, really, and it was for we could go into patriarchal a little bit, in the sense that when agriculture came around, if you stayed on the ground, you wanted to pass it on to your children. So it became more of an evident importance. But the point is, the son wanted to prove who he was, and the father wanted to prove that, hey, I really love you. And so I guess, and so he said I made an oath, and that's why he is of oaths. He said, no matter what my kid wants, give it to him. So the kid wanted to drive his chariot.
Oh, yeah.
Not a good idea, but he did. And of course, the horses knew this was a
usurper.
Yeah, usurper. Thank you. And it went crazy, and so ended up starving the earth and burning the cities. And finally Zeus said, enough of that. And so he fell down, and that was the end of it. So we have to be careful about what we want to prove. I think that's really part of this process is feel good confidence. Have that confidence that the sun, like you were saying, with all the light, but watch out for whether you want to prove to the other one that you're really okay. Know it inside.
Yeah, because you end up burning yourself.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was ablaze. Oh, my goodness. Yes. Good. Well, let's see what else we had here. Oh, yeah. So Apollo. Yeah, Apollo, he went on to, there's a long story about his birth and all that. I don't know what you want to mention.
But yeah, I know. Yeah, his younger brother, Hermes.
Oh, yes.
Jokes on him all the time. And anyway, but Apollo also raised Chiron.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Marie.
And taught Chiron all of his, the medicine and everything. All that came from Apollo.
Yeah, the art. Yeah, and Artemis, his sister. That's the other thing. All the sun gods have sisters, because one's the sun and one's the moon. In this case, and sometimes the sun is the female and the moon is the male. I did that a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
I was alone and did my moon mythology. But here, yes, because both he and his sister raised Chiron.
Yeah.
Isn't that
Yeah.
fascinating? Because right now they're in that angle together. So this must be a deeply healing time, just looking at it from that standpoint.
Oh, yeah. And just a side note, not really a huge side note, what we need to understand with these gods is they're both masculine and feminine, and
Oh, yes.
they're all within us. And so I know that the patriarchy came up with these stories,
Right.
to explain the god. And it's not that they weren't right; they were, but they only told part of the story.
Yes.
There's a feminine aspect to the sun. There's a feminine aspect to Saturn. There's a feminine aspect to all of these planets, and there's masculine aspects to them. And the goal is to marry the two within the self, so that
Absolutely.
you can be whole.
It is that, just like with the teeter-totter and the polarities and the strengths and the weaknesses. In fact, Aquarius really brings that out. I found myself getting excited as I started reviewing and remembering, because don't talk about it much. But the first cupbearer was not Ganymede, and I'm jumping a little bit here with Aquarius. It was Hebe, who was the daughter of Zeus and Hera. And exactly what you were saying about the story, or bringing up about the patriarchy, is that it was earlier on, and she was youth, and that's where only the gods got to be useful and eternal, right? The gods are eternal. But as consciousness changes and evolves, and finally, and we go through the different parts of it. It's like everything had its best. It wasn't necessarily best that only the gods were separate from humanity. But in the process, Hebe fell out because she accidentally got exposed of her personal parts. And so she got married to Hercules, the greatest, who happened to kill a lion, come to think of it. So it's this interesting dynamic between Aquarius and Leo. But the point is, Ganymede was the beloved of Zeus. But eventually it shows just what you're saying, is that it doesn't matter, that there isn't any sexuality, that because it's yin and yang, it's like assertion and reception. Both can be there.
Oh, absolutely.
And that water, before we go on, because we're going to eventually, this wonderful hour is closing. It's like, oh dear. But that water isn't water. It's actually the spirit. It's the cosmic fluid of immortality and divinity. I think that's where I wish more mythology would bring that point up.
Oh, absolutely, because that's a key fact that is rarely talked about.
Yes.
Can you explain more of that, if you wouldn't mind, to the audience?
Well, it is that I think it goes back to that point that that we are source, how energy comes into material, and that everything is vibrational and light, and just depending on its vibrational qualities, because you can see that we know that ice, for instance, water can freeze depending on the temperature, it can evaporate, and it can be water. And so in a sense, water is a good analogy for it, I suppose, if they didn't, because it changes. But life is changed too. And
and it's all about healing too. And it's an elixir. It's an elixir of life.
Yes. Well, I left these just for people to look at a little bit closer if they wanted to look at their own chart to see where these are, because if this is an Aries chart, but it would show where, and these are the nodes. And I also changed, we did really well, Marie. We went through it.
We did.
And this is when it's conjunct, and you can see what's happening there. So what a treat.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm so delighted. I am very happy. I know that Sunday isn't your best time, and you're a busy woman. But
oh, this is good. This is always fun.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, folks, you have a little time one way or the other as between the mean and the true notes.
Yeah.
So lead on with your best, have confidence, because we're all going to be working together somehow.
Thank you for joining this vibrant and insightful conversation on Talk Cosmos, the show where Sue Rose Minahan and her guests awaken consciousness by connecting heart and soul consciousness patterns with astrology's energetic cycles. Be sure to tune in next week, same time, same place, to continue your journey through the roots of the cosmic pathway.